Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Ceccoli. I'm with Simply Living. Simply Living's been a nonprofit organization in Central Ohio for almost 30 years. Since 1992 is when we were founded. We have a mission, and our mission is to be a community organization that celebrates and connects people to learning opportunities that promote community sustainability, environmental awareness, and our local economy through educational outreach and partnerships with our community. So I have joined Simply Living about 6 years ago and became a board member. And I'd always been conscious of the environment and our impact on it. But once I started learning more and more is when I really started to incorporate a lot of these steps into my personal life. And I'm happy to say that we have become quite sustainable in our house. There's a few things that the virus are making a little harder, and we'll talk about that as well. Um, I was actually nominated and was going to be one of the stops on Simply Living's Sustainable Garden Tour this year, so I'm also really disappointed that that can't be happening, but hopefully next year we'll get to do it. Look forward to the fall. We might be doing a little virtual tours, and I can talk about my garden as well in a little while. But we're going to just talk about some basic sustainability. I think the most important thing to remember with everyone is that you just have to start where you can. If you can only make a couple of small changes, don't be discouraged. Make those small changes because small changes really do add up. I know that sometimes when you think about all of the ways our modern lifestyle impacts the planet and then in turn our own personal health, that it can get overwhelming and it kind of feels defeating sometimes. But I'm here to tell you that just a few small changes, once you make them, they become very easy. And then you get encouraged to make more small changes. And then before you know it, you've made a lot of changes and it feels really good. Um, just one change can make a difference. Your actions multiplied by the actions of others can really add up fast. Um, and as far as movements, it only takes 15% of the population to get on board before a movement becomes unstoppable. I think that we've all seen in the last month or so what's happened with the Black Lives Matter movement. I think it's really encouraging. I'm really happy to see that some change is already starting to be made, and I think it's just the beginning. I think that we've raised awareness with that movement to such a level that that is going to be an unstoppable force. And I'm hoping that we can do the same thing with the climate change movement because we're really reaching a tipping point. And I don't say that to scare you, but to encourage you to use your voice and make changes in your lifestyle, encourage other people to make changes in their lifestyle. And before you know it, you can have everyone on board with this movement as well. So I'm going to read a statistic to you that helps you realize how just making one change really can make a difference. So reusable bags. We all know single-use plastic is terrible. Reusable bags are one way to combat single-use plastic. Um, so say you only have one reusable bag and you replace 700 single-use plastics with just that one bag. You use that one bag for as long as you can. You've saved 700 plastic bags from the waste stream. And that's just in 1 year. So multiply that by the rest of your life. And now add in several reusable bags because when you go to the store, especially a grocery store, you're probably going to fill up several bags of groceries. And now say your neighbor starts using reusable bags or sister or a coworker, and those small changes can really, really add up. So say you make the switch right now to reusable bags instead of single-use plastic. That saves just you, just your change, saves 22,000 single-use plastics from the waste stream, plastic bags. So that's really encouraging to me. Multiply 22,000 bags by 10 people. I mean, that's just a small example of how one change adopted by a whole bunch of people can create a massive shift. So we're going to talk about some of the easy ways that you can make changes to be more sustainable. And then I'll talk about some of the other ways that I have changed things in my life to take it steps further. So And again, I know some of these things because of the coronavirus are more difficult. Like obviously, a lot of grocery stores aren't allowing you to take in your reusable bags. I have found that if I do take my reusable bags, I'll call a store first and see if they allow it. I've been going to several stores with my bags still, and they make you usually bag it yourself, which is totally fine with me. And then you also want to be really careful and wash those bags every time just to be safe. So that's one thing you can do right now. Get some reusable bags and start using them. Take them not just to the grocery store, but to every store that you go to, and use them as much as you can. Take them when you go to buy clothes. Take them when you go to buy a gift. That's change one that you can make right now. Another huge change that you can make right now is stop buying bottled water. Please stop buying bottled water. Bottled water is terrible for the planet. It's terrible for your wallet. It's terrible all around. Nestle is one of the biggest offenders of draining aquifers and then reselling water to you at 2,000% markup. Um, there's a great website called The Story of Stuff, and they do little videos, and they do a story of bottled water, only a few minutes long. I encourage you to watch it. But get a water bottle that you can carry with you everywhere you go. Refill it in a sink at a drinking fountain, in your faucet. Your tap water is fine. I promise it's no different. It's in fact more regulated than the bottled water you buy. So it's actually not safe to drink water out of the reusable or the single-use plastic bottle, um, especially when that bottle is subjected to temperature changes. It can leach chemicals into the water that you're drinking. Um, get yourself a nice glass reusable bottle. Um, I have a basically like a thermos that keeps things either really cold or really hot. It's metal, can wash it. Uh, that's a really simple change. You'll be surprised how much money you save and how much plastic you save from going to the ocean and into the landfill. Get a reusable coffee mug. A reusable coffee mug that you take in your car, and when you go to Starbucks, again, the virus might make this a little tougher, but once it's all over, don't worry, you'll be able to use it again. Or if you go to, say you just go to a convenience store for coffee, take your reusable coffee travel mug with you, fill it up. You usually get a discount on the coffee that you buy because you have your own mug. We take ours everywhere when we take road trips. Whenever we get coffee that's not from our house, we have our mug and we get that for our coffee. Reusable produce bags is another one. I haven't had a problem with these during the pandemic. Um, I don't know, some stores might not like it, but you don't even need the little flimsy plastic bag for most of your produce. I see people all the time put like 2 oranges in one of those flimsy bags. Why? You don't need to. Your orange has its own little container wrapped around it that's keeping it safe. You don't need to put it in a little plastic bag. Same goes for bananas or an onion. You don't need that little flimsy bag. Just don't use it. If you want to buy some mushrooms, have a reusable bag that you can take to the store every single time. I wash mine after I use them. Um, that's just one more way to stop using single-use plastic when you go to the store. Um, it's a great change that you can make right now. Straws. Ask for a no straw when you are out to eat. I don't drink from a straw at my own house. I don't know very many people that do. Um, say you don't want a straw. It's crazy. We in the United States go through 500 million plastic straws a day. It's enough to fill 125 school buses every single day. And those single-use plastics are particularly bad because they get washed down drains very easily, or they get washed out to sea. You've all seen the video of the poor turtle with the straw in them that they pull out. Straws are really just a. If you go to the beach, look, I pick up straws every time I go to the beach. They're one of the biggest things I find out in the environment. So just say no to straws. It's a really simple thing that you can do. Bring your own utensils. I have a little travel pack of bamboo utensils that I take with me everywhere I go. I just have them in my purse. They're super lightweight. You say you get food at a food truck and they're trying to give you a little plastic spoon to eat your thing with. No thanks, I've got my own. Got your little travel utensils. They don't have to be bamboo. You can just grab a fork and a spoon and a knife from your house and wrap it in a napkin, stick it in your purse or stick it in your backpack, or keep it in your office so that you don't have to use plastic at the office. Um, that's another really simple, really easy change. Plastic utensils are also, I find them everywhere out in the environment, especially on beaches. You go to Dairy Queen, you get a blizzard, tell them you don't need the plastic, whatever. But that's another small change that can have a huge impact on the environment, and it's economical. You'll never have to buy plastic utensils again. This is one thing that I'm trying to get better at. Bring your own container if you're going to go out to eat and you think you'll have leftovers. I'm trying really hard to work on that one. It is a little bit harder to remember, but just like all of these other habits, you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you make a habit, and then it becomes second nature and it becomes easy. Um, I don't know about you, but I haven't really been going out to eat, even now that they say it's okay. But someday we'll all be able to go out to eat again, and remember to bring your own container for your leftovers. Um, Another thing I do that, again, is a little difficult now because of the pandemic, but I buy as many things in bulk as I possibly can. I have a cupboard full of mason jars, and I just take them with me. I know that the big ones weigh up 1 pound, and you get whatever you want in bulk. And when they weigh it, they subtract the 1 pound for the weight of the jar. And now I've gotten things in bulk, and there's no packaging at all. So that's another really nice, easy change that you can make, that makes you more sustainable and helps the planet. Um, there's so many things that you can do, just small little things that really make a big difference. I'm going to talk about some things that I do that take this all a step further. And you can go this far if you want to. You don't have to. Like I said, start with small changes and let them become a habit, and then you'll be encouraged and you'll want to start making more changes. So other things that we never use in our house anymore, and we never will again: paper towels. I haven't bought a paper towel in probably 5 years. I don't know how many I bought before, but I also know that I have had at least 5 people tell me that they also do not buy paper towels anymore, which really makes me feel great. It's unnecessary. We cut down so many trees every year for paper towels. Guess what? You have a washing machine. You can get some cloth napkins that are reusable. This is what we do. We have a towel or a stack of napkins. Some of them are more like rags. Some of them are nicer when we have people over for dinner. But everything gets used, and once it's dirty, we wash it and put it back in the drawer when it's clean. And I haven't had a paper towel in my house in 5 years, and I don't miss them, and you won't miss them either. I promise you won't miss them. Plastic wrap. There are lots of options now for plastic wrap. I haven't bought plastic wrap in, again, I don't know how long. There's this stuff called beeswrap that you can buy. It's basically like a sheet of muslin that's coated in beeswax. The heat from your hand seals the wrap on whatever you're trying to wrap. I have a lot of reusable containers, and they're not even plastic. I've got a bunch of old Pyrex. I've got some other Anchor Steam, some glass containers that have lids. I have some little stainless steel containers with lids. I use all of that for my leftovers. And if I absolutely need plastic wrap, I'll use my beeswrap on something. But they're coming out with new things every single day. Silicone lids, all kinds of great things that you can use instead of plastic wrap. I actually have these little silicone things for my fruit. Like, say I cut a lemon in half and I don't want to put that lemon in plastic wrap. I have this little silicone thing that seals to the top of the lemon, and then just stick the whole thing in my fridge, and it's great. Ziploc bags. I haven't bought a Ziploc bag in years now, and sometimes people give me things in Ziploc bags, and then I will continue to wash and reuse that as many times as I can before it finally is not usable anymore. But I don't buy them. I don't need them. There's always a container you can put something in instead of a Ziploc bag. They make reusable sandwich things that you little envelopes. They're washable in your dishwasher or by hand if you're going to pack lunch every day and you want to take a sandwich or raisins or cherries or carrot sticks or whatever. They make all these little great things that you can get. If you don't want to buy things, you can save your yogurt container and use it like Tupperware. Save all of your plastic that your food comes in and reuse that as a Tupperware option for as long as you can. Um, Other things I don't buy anymore. I don't buy sponges for my kitchen anymore, um, especially the really like dyed ones that are full of chemicals. I don't use sponges. I'll either use a dish rag, or we actually have a little bamboo brush, and I buy dish soap that's solid, that doesn't come in any plastic. It comes in a little cardboard box, and it's a solid thing. I stick it in a little bowl. I have my little brush. I get my brush wet. I rub it in the soap, and I wash my dishes with that, and it works great. And there's no plastic, and there's no chemicals. Um, Tupperware I already covered. I don't buy Tupperware. Sometimes people give me things in Tupperware, and that's great. I'll use it until I absolutely can't use it again, until it's completely unusable, and then I'll finally take it to Whole Foods to be recycled. But I don't buy Tupperware. Balloons. I'm sure you've all seen how bad balloons are, especially when they're released into the air. People do it as memorials, or I think that the Indy 500 does it at the start of every race, every year when they do the race. I know there's still some football teams that will release balloons for home games. They're so damaging to the environment. They're so damaging to the wildlife. Even the ones that say that they're biodegradable, they're not. I've seen the videos of people having one in their yard for 6 years and it still hasn't degraded. They're especially bad if they have a string on them. There's lots of other ways you can memorialize someone. You don't have to release balloons. You can there's just Google it. There's tons of other ways that you can pay tribute to someone that you've lost, or um, whatever other reason you have for releasing balloons. You don't need to. I haven't bought a balloon for anybody's birthday or anything like that in years. Um, Litter box liners. So I have two cats. I know some people buy plastic litter box liners for their litter boxes, or even for their litter after they scoop it and put it in a little plastic bag. We don't do that either. We actually have a little pail that has a lid on it, and it's a little metal galvanized steel pail. We scoop the cat litter into the pail. Once the pail is filled, we take it out and dump it in the trash. No plastic bag. Litter is still, what are you going to do? We've got cats. They don't go outside. But that's, I'm saving a few plastic bags every week. Unlike some people that use the liners, I just, I'll wash my litter boxes out every so often, and we just scoop it right into the pail with no liner. Let's see. We don't use trash can liners in our office or in our bathroom. We just don't feel the need. We don't throw anything in there that's going to be gross. So, especially in the office, a lot of that's just paper that gets recycled anyway, so we don't have liners in those cans. Some people might think that this isn't cool, but we don't buy Kleenex either. I do have old school napkins, like how your grandpa used to keep in his pocket to blow his nose on. I have some of those that we wash over and over again. Sometimes I'll just use toilet paper instead of Kleenex, whatever. I just don't like Kleenex. I don't buy anything in plastic if I can get it in glass or in cardboard instead. I know there's some debate on if cardboard is better or worse because they're still cutting down trees, but at least with cardboard, you can recycle it and it can degrade. So if I see a jar of peanut butter and one's in glass and one's in plastic, I always buy the one in glass. If I see a jar of honey, same thing. One's in plastic, one's in glass. I'll spend the extra 30 cents to buy the honey that's in a glass jar. I just feel like it's important. Then you can take those glass jars and reuse them over and over again to buy things in bulk or to make cleaning products and store them in, or there's lots of ways that you can reuse those containers. Um, my partner is a pop drinker, and he used to always buy his pop in 2-liter bottles. And I have now convinced him to buy cans. So the cans are recyclable, and the cardboard box that they come in is also recyclable. And it's just a much better, more sustainable option than a 2-liter bottle. So that's another thing we've completely eliminated from our household, no more 2-liter bottles. Shampoo and conditioner. Um, I've actually been buying the bars, and they're great. Um, you can get them online. Lush is a store at Easton, I believe, or maybe it's at Polaris, but they sell shampoo and conditioning bars. So no plastic, no packaging. You can get them online. Um, you probably could even Google how to make them yourself, but that's just one more thing that I don't buy that comes in plastic. So my shampoo and conditioner bars they're great. I love them. Um, Coffee filters. We actually have a reusable coffee filter. So we use that every day instead of coffee filters. We don't buy coffee filters anymore. So that's just another awesome change that we've made. Um, I do always buy fair trade coffee as well. I just feel like if I can, and if you can, spend the extra couple of dollars and get the fair trade coffee. The farmers get paid a fair wage, um, and it's more environmentally friendly coffee that's grown in a more environmentally friendly way. So those are a few other steps that we've taken. Um, it's a partial list. There's a ton more. I make my own cleaning products. I'll talk about that in a second as well. And I've actually got a garden, so we grow a ton of our own food, which also saves us from going to the store and buying a ton of things ourselves. We can a lot of it, so I didn't have to buy a can of tomatoes all winter long. We canned so many tomatoes last year that we didn't run out this year. I even still have a couple, and the tomatoes are starting to get ripe again now, so that's exciting. Um, so like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm still on this journey of sustainability, and I know that I can always do more. I'm hoping that I can encourage you to just make a couple of small changes and go from there. But here are some other options of ways to be more sustainable as well. Like I said, I don't have an electric car, but I do have a car that gets 40 miles to the gallon in gas, and I don't drive it that often. If I can walk somewhere, I walk. If I can ride my bike, I ride my bike. So I don't really drive more than maybe 5,000 miles a year. I know that's not possible for everyone, but um, you can take the bus. Again, I know the virus makes all of our lives so much harder in so many ways, but it's not going to last forever. So just think about ways you can make changes in the future. Other sustainable changes that you can make, shop secondhand. Go to the thrift store. There's tons of great stores in Columbus now that are secondhand, whether it be clothing or furniture. There's not just thrift stores. There's also some really great environmentally friendly curated collections. Like there's one right down the street from me in Clintonville called Marigold, and she sells clothing and household goods, clothing in sizes from little babies all the way to plus sizes for women. She has some things for men. She's got some cute household goods. She's got great toys and books for children. Her prices are really reasonable, and she spends all of the time going to thrift stores to pick out the best stuff so you don't have to do that. And her store is really cute. There's tons of places like that. There's a place in Grandview called One More Time. They have a furniture, household store, and a clothing store. I get a ton of stuff there. Support your local businesses. Support small local businesses rather than going to Walmart. See if you can get these other things. You might pay $1 or $2 more for some things, but at least you're supporting the local economy and the local businesses, which makes our whole community more sustainable and more resilient in the face of a pandemic, for instance. Co-ops. Farmers markets are a great place to shop and support your local farmers. We really need to have a strong, resilient local food system, and supporting your farmers market is a great way to do it. When this pandemic started, we signed up for Yellowbird Food Shed, which is it's not really a co-op, but it is a lot of different growers. Everyone's from Ohio. So we get food delivered straight to our house from Yellowbird. You can also get it delivered to several little pickup spots, but you can go onto their website. You can buy things from bar soap to flour to eggs to milk to chicken to tons of fresh produce. They've got some other frozen things. They've got the whole range. They've got hummuses and chips and salsa and beans and staples and all kinds of really great things. And every single thing that they sell comes to you from an Ohio farmer. So I feel really great supporting that. It was a really great way for us to get some fresh produce without going to the grocery store and until our garden took off. Join a CSA. I think I just said that. Grow your own food. Like I said, we have a big garden and we grow a ton of our own food. So I probably won't be getting the Yellowbird produce much longer because we've got a ton of stuff already coming in. So we grow a lot of our own food, and that saves you money at the store. It tastes better. When you go out and pick a raspberry off your vine and it's still warm from the sunshine, it tastes so much better than any raspberry you'll ever get in the store, I promise you. We can a lot of our food. I've been growing a lot of flowers and herbs, and now I make a lot of tinctures and herbal concoctions. I make a neosporin with calendula flowers and plantain that grows in my yard for free. I make my own tea. I grow chamomile and lemon balm and tulsi and make my own blends of tea, and I drink that tea all winter long, and I give it away as gifts. There's a ton of things you can grow, and then you don't have to buy them at the store, and you get the satisfaction of knowing you did it yourself, and it really does taste better. Carpool if you can. Again, I know, pandemic. Compost is a big thing that we do in our house. We actually have chickens as well, so there are ways to make great compost, and we save our food scraps. We just have a little tub on our counter, and we fill it up, and when it's full, we take it out and put it in the compost pile, and it's just a great way to reduce your waste. I know that the statistic is Americans waste 40% of the food that we buy, which is crazy. Think of all of the energy it took to grow that food and all of the resources, and then all the gasoline it took to ship it from one place to the other, and then we just throw it away. It makes me so sad. I know I'm guilty of it too. I try really hard not to waste anything, but every once in a while things go bad in the fridge before we get to them. So we compost it, and that keeps it out of the landfill, and it keeps it from turning into methane into our atmosphere. So if you can compost, compost. Buy fair trade products. I talked about that a little bit already, but it's always a nice alternative if you can find fair trade chocolate or coffee or tea. It's just a better product. It's more sustainable. Eat a few meatless meals a week. Maybe just start with one. I'm not a vegetarian. Like I said, I've been getting some meat from Yellowbird. I don't feel bad about that meat because I know it's all been humanely raised and cared for, and it's not a factory farm situation. But I'm not saying you have to give up meat. Just eat less of it. Instead of every meal, maybe just one meal a day with meat, or make your portions smaller. It's one way you can make a big difference. Other ways that you can be more sustainable. I don't always make my own cleaning products. Sometimes I just don't have time. But there are really great companies that you can support if you're not going to go the extra mile like I do. If you haven't heard of Certified B Corporations, I'm going to tell you a little bit about those, and then I have to read this. Certified B Corporations are a new kind of business that balances purpose and planet. They are legally required to consider the impact of their decisions for their workers, their customers, their suppliers, their community, and the environment. So it's a community of leaders that drive a global movement of people using business as a force for good. So there's lots of different products that are made by Certified B Corporations. Patagonia is one. Patagonia is expensive, but their stuff lasts forever. So if you can afford to spend a little bit more money on maybe a jacket from Patagonia, it will last you 20 years. Um, they also stopped using microfleece because of the microplastics that we're rinsing off of it every time. They're really aware of their footprint, and they're really trying hard to make changes. It's a great company to support. There's a lot of other ones though. Mrs. Myers, J.R. Watkins, Dr. Bronner's obviously is a great choice. Method, Seventh Generation makes some really good products. Those are all certified B corporations. Jenny's Ice Cream is a certified B corporation, so don't feel guilty about getting your Jenny's Ice Cream because she's doing good things with that money. Even though it's expensive, you can rest assured that some of that money is going back into our local economy, and also she's doing really great things for the planet with that money. There's also products that are 1% for the planet products. There's also some stores around here that give 1% of their profits to the planet. Those are great places to support. Valrhona Chocolate is a certified B corporation. There's tons of them. You can go online and Google, but there's lots of different places that are certified B corporations, and they range from financial institutions to cleaning products to clothing and everything in between. There's also some technology. So some people need that little extra push, or they like to have it on their phone. There's an app called Detox Me, and you commit to making small changes, and then it tracks your changes for you and shows you what you've done in the amount of time. It's just kind of a fun way to track your sustainability and keep you on track and help you, give you tips to remind you to make some changes. There's one called Done Good. There's one called Healthy Living. One called EcoCred. Those are all really great places to start. There's also Simply Living is a partner of the Northwest Earth Institute, and twice a year they do something called the Eco Challenge, which is a 2-week challenge. You can go online and sign up to be on our team for the next time. I believe there's one in July, and then there's one in October. But they give you tons of ways that you can become more sustainable, like taking shorter showers, water consumption, actually. That's something else that we do in our yard. We have 3 rain barrels, and we water our garden from water from the rain barrels until there's a drought, but that hasn't been a problem. We actually have one of our rain barrels hooked up to a hose that goes all the way back out to our back raised bed, and my boyfriend rigged it up so the hose goes through the whole bed, and it has little valves, and we can turn off sections or turn on sections. But basically all we do is turn the nozzle on the rain barrels on, and that whole back bed gets watered without us having to do anything. So there's lots of ways that you can do things like that. Plant native plants. Native plants are more drought resistant. They don't need as much water to survive. They're better for the environment because all of our native insects and pollinators and birds, they all need those native plants to survive. That's what's supposed to be in the environment for them. So that's another way to become more sustainable. There are so many things that you can do, and it's exciting, I think, once you start thinking about, oh, I can do this or I can do that, and then that just snowballs into all of the other ways that you can become more sustainable in your life. It all helps the planet. It helps our community. I'm going to tell you a couple of stores that I shop at that I really like, especially for some of the cleaning supplies that I buy, that I make myself. I'll tell you about those in a second. The cleaning supplies, I want to talk about that a little bit. These are some other things that I do. I have asthma, so a lot of times cleaning products are filled with ingredients that aren't good for us. They're not great for the planet. I notice a lot of them especially make it really hard for me to breathe. Bleach is one of the biggest ones that I do not buy, and I notice it when people use it. I notice that I have a hard time breathing when there's a lot of bleach in the air. It's very damaging. So there's lots of other things that you can do. You don't really need the bleach. But if you ever looked at the warning labels on some of these cleaning supplies, they're kind of scary. Like look at the back of an oven cleaner. I think the poison symbol on there. And then you're gonna breathe that into your put that in your oven and in your house and breathe that in all day while it's working. Um, Even some of the green options are made by companies that make mainstream products and really aren't that green. So even if you're trying not to give your money to some of these other companies, they still sneak it in on you and you still are supporting them. So that's another reason I like to make my own products. I know what's in them, I know what companies I'm getting the ingredients from, and I feel good about supporting those companies. Like I said, like Dr. Bronner's, for instance. Um, anyway, these chemicals are everywhere, and they can be extremely toxic or they can be just a little bit toxic, but they all add up in your body, and it's called a body burden when you have a buildup of toxic chemicals in your body. Some people don't have a big reaction to those. Some people like me, I can tell a huge difference. So anyway, any way you can rid your house of chemicals, and also you're also saving a lot of that plastic from the waste stream. Like if you're not buying a cleaning product that comes in a plastic bottle, you've not only saved the earth from those chemicals and your health from those chemicals, you've kept that plastic out of the waste stream. So like I said, I have a ton of mason jars. I make a lot of my cleaning products and put them in mason jars and clean my whole house with them. Um, some of the most basic things that you need are vinegar, Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, baking soda, lemons. Those are some of the biggest ones that I've used. And you can make a ton of cleaning products with just simple ingredients. So white vinegar cleanses, deodorizes, it cuts grease, it's disinfectant. It has thousands of uses. Same with baking soda. It's also an abrasive, so you can scrub your tub with it. One really simple thing that I make all the time is baking soda. I fill a small mason jar with baking soda, and then you just add about a quarter of that jar of liquid Castile soap. And you can use any of the scents that you like, or you can use the unscented. And you mix that up, and it makes a nice little paste. That paste is great to scrub your tubs, your sink. I use it to scrub my hands after I come in from the garden and I've got all that dirt on my fingers or the green stuff from the tomatoes. It takes care of it all. It's like magic. It's one of my favorite all-purpose cleaners. Another thing that I do that's really easy is I keep a jar on my counter, and every time we eat an orange or use a lemon, we save that peel and we stick it in the jar, and we fill that jar with vinegar and make sure everything's covered in the vinegar. And you just let that steep for a few weeks, and then you strain the fruit out, the citrus out, and you've got another really fantastic all-purpose cleaner. The oils from the citrus are really great at crease cutting. You can use it for almost everything. That's a really easy, great one. Essential oils. Be careful of the company that you get your essential oils from, because some are not as great and others are really good, and they really are sustainable in the way they make things earth friendly. But I know some of the good ones are doTERRA. Now makes really nice essential oils. Plant Therapy, Eden's Gardens, Mountain Rose Herbs, that's a great company. Young Living, those are all really reputable brands. But essential oils boost cleaning power. They smell really good. A lot of them are antimicrobial and antifungal. Some of them are antiviral, antibacterial, and are antiseptic. I make basically like a fake Febreze. I have ball jars. They actually make lids that you can screw onto your ball jars that have like the spray nozzle or the pump. So I have some with the spray nozzle, and I'll just mix water and some essential oils together with a little bit of witch hazel and shake it up, and I spray that in the room. If you know, if you've got a dog and your house smells like a dog, spray that. You do have to be careful which ones you use with pets, because some aren't great for pets. Just Google that if you're going to use essential oils, but they're really great for lots of different cleaning. I even use lemongrass essential oil as a bug repellent. I just dab it onto my wrists and behind my ears and on my ankles, and I don't get bit by mosquitoes when I have the lemongrass on. But there's lots of great cleaning products that you can make yourself, and again, it's just another way to be more sustainable, and helps your budget, it helps the planet. It's a great way to do it. So I hope that I've inspired you to make some changes in your life. I hope that you can see how easy it is and it inspires you to add on to those changes, or maybe it inspires your neighbor to make a couple of changes. We can do this, everybody. We can have a more sustainable world and a healthier planet. And we can be healthier and save money at the same time and do good. So thank you for allowing me to give you a little talk. I hope you learned something, and I will be with you to answer questions. Thank you, everybody. Have a great contest.